As one of my favorite friends speaks about missions, please listen on purpose. Incorporate her thoughts, memories, and ideas into your life so God has a vessel to use to bless others. The ladies of faith are witnessing, a dear servant be blessed because of a lifetime of faithful giving and love for worldwide missions.
Missionaries are not just people that come and speak or people that come and ask you for money to support them. No, they're people that have a mission. That means they're going to a place that I can't go. That means they're going in my place. Before Faith Promise started, which was in the 60s, every church had missionaries. We still had missionaries. It wasn't that you didn't have missionaries, but the church budgeted an amount, a percent of whatever came in, that went to missionaries, and that was dispersed according to however they had made that arrangement. So that's how the missionaries were. So you never had a personal attachment because it was just part of your giving. There never was an expressed amount. This much is going to missions. You knew some money was because you had a missionary map, you had pictures all around it, and you had letters when they wrote, so you knew the missionaries, you knew where they were, but that's about the extent of how. Then when Faith Promise came in and how it opened the field of being able to support more, that was really what it did. When I gave Faith Promise, I gave over above what my tithe and my offering was. And that money went specifically to go to missionaries. That meant that when a missionary came by, we could have them, and there was money because we had given Faith Promise. Now, Faith Promise was not budgeted in your budget. It was money that you trusted God that He would give you, that you would be able to give to missionaries. And so it was a heart thing. Now, I'm not saying that you should go crazy and say, and not be smart. God never works that way. He works, He gives you the intent in your heart. Listen, if you trust me, you can give $15 instead of $10, which I could give $10. But if I trust Him, I could give $15. If people would realize the blessing this is, it would be phenomenal in their lives. And just because you can afford to give so much, that doesn't mean that should be the extent of your giving. It should make you trust God. And I think that's even true that moms and dads ought to teach their children. See, because they get allowances, they get different things. What part are they going to invest in a missionary? Because they can't go there. So these missionaries are people. They have kids. You know, sometimes they use your bathroom and they forget to put down the toilet seat, you know, things like that. They're just like we are. They're missionaries, but they're people just like we are. And they're fun, and they eat with us, and it's fun for them for us to learn what they eat. The Wilsons are really a nice family. They're fun. Remember when they came and they all dressed in their costume? I thought it was really nice. That's something you can remember, and that helps you to remember them. Things like that will help you to remember those people. Okay, we were in their home, and their home was above their church. It was on the second floor of where their church was, and you saw you saw with that how they had to give up what we would have, a normal home, so that they could have their Sunday school. Part of their house would be Sunday school, and how they would navigate their things. And another thing is, while we were there, there was a building, a home next to them that was beautiful, had a nice enclosed yard. It was very nice, and they were praying that they would be able to get that. Now, this is home way beyond their means. In other words, it's a very ritzy, like, or a wealthy home, and praise the Lord, they were able to get that home, and they have it now. I can see that home. I can close my eyes and I can see that home in it. To me, that's a joy. That's something that I was able to see because I went there. And so, if you get a chance to go on a foreign mission trip, be sure you do it. Save your pennies and do it, because it'll be worth your while. Let me tell you about our first missionary named Don Sisk. We had him in our church in Chicago 50 years ago, and he was a missionary to Japan, which we really enjoyed. And so during that time, we got to know him, and he was at our house, and we ate with him and things like that. Well, let's fast forward 50 years, okay? We go to California to see our daughter, and in the church there happens to be Don Siska's there. And my husband, I want to be sure and see him. So he went up to him, and it's amazing. 50 years, and Don Sisk knew my husband, knew the name of the church, Epiphany, which is not a very easy name, remembered our church. And it's amazing. This missionary, 50 years later, remembered the church, the first church that we had that supported him, to Japan. And I'm thinking, if that missionary knew my husband, knew the circumstances for our missionary conference, knew all that, and do I remember our missionaries like they did? Because I want to know them like Don Sisk knew us. I want to know them, so that's an important part of our missions conference, knowing our missionaries. I remember the Corley twins. They're brothers, and they work in Arizona with the Indians, and they were exciting to have with us all the time, and they did all kind of tricks with the rope. They were cowboys, and so they were fun to be with, and so we had them several times. And it's amazing because every year our mission conference was near my daughter Sandy's birthday. And they knew this, and they were with us several times, and every time they brought a gift for Sandy for her birthday. So Sandy definitely remembers them. So that things like that, just connections that you have, make you remember the missionaries and how important that is. There was a missionary that came to us that was a fun missionary for all the kids. He was from Africa. I cannot remember his name, but I remember he had a 6-foot blowgun. And he had a junior boy stand in the back of the church with a balloon in his mouth, and he blew that blowgun to blow out that balloon. I want to tell you, every kid remembered. And not only that, he had this snake skin, a huge one, and it was rolled up, and he had a little boy come from the audience and hold on to one end, and he told about it as he unrolled it and went to the other end. He got over there and he let his end go, and it went, and that little boy screamed and let go. But you know what? We remember those missionaries that did things like that. I remember a missionary did a funny thing to me, which was naughty, but he did. We were in line getting our supper, the international supper, and I was in line talking to somebody, and he snuck around me, and he got in front, and he laid a mouse, not a real mouse, but it looked real, and he put it on my plate, and he kept going, and I didn't even know it was on there until I turned around, and of course I screamed, and I let go of my plate. It was a fiasco, but he really enjoyed it. Well, I remember him too. If people would realize the blessing this is, it would be phenomenal in their lives.
If you were given the opportunity to share stories like Mrs. Rose, I would like to think that everyone in this room could testify to a personal connection they have had with a missionary, past or present. If you cannot, let this be your year to start making connections. As cold water to a thirsty soul, so is good news from a far country. You will never understand until heaven the impact your simple text, Facebook message, phone call, email, or kind word has meant to someone, and especially to a missionary. On the flip side, Your choice to not send a message and only think it also has an effect. Would you purpose in your heart to be a blessing to a missionary each opportunity you are given? How many more opportunities will you have? How many opportunities are you too busy to notice and take advantage of? You will never know the treasures you will find along the way by simply stopping to meet the surrendered servants of Christ that cross our path here at Faith Baptist Church. Please pray with me that you would have eyes and ears like Christ, to be able to see and hear what isn't always spoken by someone. Listen to the still, small voice that says, "Please say something to my child. Help me love them today."